Following on from the last video, we continued to build a fence around our property. We picked up some more fast setting cement, which we were told by the guys at the builder's yard would do the job. We continued to level the metal posts that were placed into holes we dug earlier. The holes were then filled with rubble, water, and then the cement mix was added. We moved from post to post and managed to get the majority of them in place in one afternoon. Once the cement mix had cured overnight, each of the post holes were then filled with soil. At one end of this stretch of fence was a fig tree, or at least the remains of one. Fig roots can damage foundations and walls, and as this one was so close to our stone wall and was obstructing the fence, I decided to remove it. The battle lasted several days, and I used a variety of tools to try and get the main root clump out. I even tried loosening things up with a concrete breaker, a decision I regretted. With the root finally free, it was time to backfill the hole and continue with the fence.
I'll be like, yeah, dig this one up, right?
To attach the new fence to the recycled metal posts, I wanted to use some of the steel wire previously used to support the vines. I harvested some lengths of wire and got ready to attach some fencing to the posts. But first, a little reminder of the main reason we are building the fence. This is our dog Mila, and every now and then she likes to jump over the wall and escape. Although we live in a quiet village, there is always a risk of her getting hit by a car, so we'd like to keep her in the garden when unsupervised. Finding her when she escapes would be a problem if we didn't have a GPS tracker from the company Tractive, which we have been using for the last 2 years. To demonstrate how it works, here I am taking Mila for a walk down a nearby track. Using the Tractive app, I can connect to the GPS device on her collar, which provides me with live tracking. It allows me to see exactly where she goes and where I am, so I can go out and find her when she escapes. Having the tracker also gives us peace of mind when out for walks. We try and have her roaming off lead whenever possible, and if she strays a bit too far, we can rely on the tracker to give us her exact location. We use the same tracker throughout Europe with no problems, but it does need a mobile internet connection to work, so bear that in mind before using it. The Tractive app has lots of other great features, and if you want to find out more information, there is a link in the description box below. A big thank you to Tractive for providing us with a new tracker and subscription. fence I bought is 1.5 meters tall, which should be tall enough. It's metal and coated in some kind of green plastic. I chose this over livestock fencing as it will hopefully be easier to use and handle. Figured out quite a good way of getting the fence nice and tight using planks of eucalyptus that I've got, putting it into the gaps between the fence and then almost using it as a lever, pulling the fence tight to the granite posts. The issue now is fixing the wire fence, the mesh fence, to the granite posts using the leftover wires, leftover cables. Problem is making it look neat and tidy. At the moment I've just done it just so it's fixed in place, and then what I'll do, I think, is I'll come back, fix it lower down and try and, while it's not under tension, try and make it look neat and tidy and then remove the ugly one. But for now I think it's working pretty well. Okay, that's a bad example, that's not that tight. Tight enough. I don't think I'll be winning any awards for fence construction, and there are probably some better ways to get this done, but it works well enough for our needs and will hopefully keep Mila inside. The wall has sort of collapsed here. I should really repair it, but the priority at the moment is to get the fence up. And then and plan on fixing it a bit later. It's a few weeks since this section of the fence was finished. There's stuff already growing up it. This bindweed, I think, which maybe is not so good. As you can see, lots of plants have grown, the grass has grown, and that'll need seeing too. The good news is the fence works really well. Mila hasn't escaped on this side of the fence since it was put up, but she's been escaping in another location on the wall on that side of the property. Originally we weren't going to fence that section of the wall because we liked the view into the forest beyond, and we thought putting up a fence there would obstruct it. But now, having this in place, we know that it does the job, keeps her in, There's also potential for a little bit more privacy with plants growing up it. And most of the time when you're looking at the fence, you don't actually see it. You look through it and beyond, and it doesn't obstruct the view as much as we thought it would. To fence the remaining section of the property along that side, and I'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. And once I've fenced the wall on that side, if there are still more escape attempts, I'll fence the final wall, which is the one that we share with our neighbours on that end. In the last video I mentioned that we were working on our camper van, and in the last month we have been slowly working on fixing it up. And I'm happy to say that after several long days and late nights of renovation, it has now been sold and is with some new owners. So it took way longer than planned. Spent a lot more time on it than I think we both originally thought it would take. But the van is ready